You know the $30,000 millionaires. That's what it means. The real tech people I know that you would not know their net worth. And when you found out the net worth, you'd be so confused. Why does this guy look homeless all the time?
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
My prayer point is, God, please give me the money that people think I have. Cause
amen,
like
brother.
You don't have it,
right?
Everybody's gonna come out.
But you know that's where I was going today. It's like, how do we avoid this rat race? Because it may not even be what you want. Yeah, you're good with your 2015. Yeah, I'm good with my 10-year-old car, a 7-year-old car now. However, it's like there's that pressure around us. And yes, we can say all day long that, I don't listen, I don't care about people. But at some point, it does bleed through.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
BTG.
Hey, if this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. Our goal really here is to really talk about business and lifestyle. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Kay.
My name is Alan.
And I'm Tosin. And today, I'm going to start off by telling you guys a story that happened to me. This is real life, all right?
Story time.
So, it happened today?
No, it wasn't today. But I was invited to a webinar as a speaker. And, I was telling people that, hey, there was this time when one of our good friends, it came from out of town, and we went out to eat. And on our way, while we were there, right, they were saying, "Oh, Tosin, your car looks kind of new. Is that the new Tesla that you got, or what happened?"
Wait, was it being sarcastic?
No. They because it looked different. I was like, new Tesla. I said,
washed it, huh?
Maybe I washed it or something. But then in me, I kind of felt a little bit weird that I still had the same car for like 7-10 years now.
Come on.
And I was like, mate, are people expecting me to change my car? I mean, my car has 180-something thousand miles on it. Wow. It's still running. It still charges properly. I got it when it was maybe 1 or 2 miles. I got it brand new. I got it brand new because I got the tax credit on it, right? But I've kept it ever since. So it made me feel like, am I supposed to have changed my car? Or people are looking out for me to change my car or something. So it kind of made me feel weird too. When we left the restaurant, I was kind of slowing down so that they don't see that it's the same car that I had multiple years ago, right? So I said, you guys, bye. Yeah, you guys can go. We good. But I mean,
that happened. That literally happens to me all the time.
He had his first come up car. And people are like, "Oh, that was your I made it car."
It was, I guess.
That's how long he's made it.
I've never. Oh,
he
Lord.
Made it so long.
No. Now go do
it. Because perception is kind of like reality, right?
Yeah.
When people at least perceive you to be successful, they attach that to whatever you have on or whatever car you drive or the neighborhood that you live. Just something very similar to yours. One day, my wife and I, we were going to Paris, the Paris Steakhouse. And the car I've been driving is a 2015 car. I've been driving that car since 2015, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's been forever, right?
That's a whole elementary school age car.
So
you got a 5th grader.
But
I'm playing. I'm messing with you.
So just follow me. So I noticed that, all the cars in the front, you got the BMW, the G-Wagon, the Maserati. Right.
Come on.
Like, nice cars, right? And I'm pulling up there in my little Honda Accord. And then, I came out.
He's a tech guy, though, They always be concerned.
You didn't do self-parking?
No.
You went to do valet?
No, so usually if I'm going out, if I'm going out with wifey, I like to do valet, right? I gave the guy the key, right? And they drove it off. So I didn't say anything, right? But when it was time for us to leave, they have the little text thing to let them know that you're ready. And I realized that even people that came out later than us got
We
their
get
car.
the cars.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like,
Yours was
they don't
parked
want-
all the way in the back.
all the way
all the way
Yeah,
in
they
the back.
don't. They put the nice ones in the front.
yeah.
You know,
So I told my wife, I said, you know what? Next time we come out here, let's bring your car. So my wife, she got the latest, the 2015 latest brand new car, right? You know, so we went there, drove, saw the nice cars, gave the guy the key, and I saw they just literally pull it right in front of us.
yeah.
You know,
They didn't throw it in the
They
back.
didn't throw it in the back. So when we came out, I didn't even use a text thing. I just literally came out and I said, hey, I'm ready. They was like, do you have your ticket? I gave them the ticket. Literally within 10 seconds, car was here.
My
and I
goodness.
asked the guy, I said, if you don't mind me asking, I said, last time I came here with a Honda Accord, 2015 Honda Accord.
He's like, really? I don't remember you.
Right?
I
Like,
said-
nobody get out of here. How'd you get
I
here?
said it took forever for me to get my car. Now the story is different. I said, what's going on here? He said, there is a perception that the nicer the car you have, the higher you're more likely to tip.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So
it's not about the restaurant. They're just looking out for their pocket.
No, so he said the second one is, he said we wanted to look like, upscale, like our restaurant is already 5-star. It's not gonna look good for us to put us broken down Honda Accord in front of.
You called your car broken down?
No, that's
He didn't
essentially
even
what
see
he was
it.
trying to say. But it made me start thinking like, man, should I upgrade my car? Do I want to?
Well, he's a tech guy.
Do I want to be like the Joneses? But then I just thought to myself, like, I'm not. I don't really care for those type of things.
I hear you. Most y'all tech people are like that though. Even though you're Yoruba. I don't know how that works, but
So because
most
I'm
y'all-
Yoruba, what
it's
do
an
they say?
oxymoron, right? Tech people, they're like, I'll take public transportation. I'll save the money and invest in something
I don't know
else.
those type of tech people.
I know
The
a lot of tech people.
around me. You
I
know,
know- well, you
they're
know
like,
the
we
fake-
want the Maseratis.
You know the
and
fake-
the fake.
You
one?
know the
No.
$30,000 millionaires. That's what it means. The real tech people I know that you would not know their net worth. And when you found out the net worth, you'd be so confused. Why does this guy look homeless all the time?
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
My prayer point is, God, please give me the money that people think I have. Because
Amen,
and act like
brother.
you don't have it, right?
Everybody's gonna come out. But you know that's where I was going today.
yeah, no.
It's like, how do we avoid this rat race? Because it may not even be what you want. Yeah, you're good with your 2015. Yeah, I'm good with my 7-10-year-old car, a 7-year-old car now, However, it's like there's that pressure around us.
there is.
And yes, we can say all day long that, I don't listen, I don't care about people,
Yeah.
but at some point, it does bleed through.
There's a
it
human
does
element.
hurt
I
a
think
little bit.
there's a little bit of a. I mean, I'm with y'all, to be honest. If I want a car or if I want something, I'm going to get it because I want it.
Yeah.
Not because I want everyone to think that I look a certain way.
Well, not
But I
everybody's
think-
like that, though.
I know, but I think within reason. I think a lot of people are going to be like, all right, what's the cutoff point? Like,
Yeah.
is it 6 years, 7 years, 10 years? What's the cutoff point to where you feel judged and you feel like, all right, maybe I should upgrade a little bit, even though I didn't care about these things. So it's like, you got to ask yourself, does it make sense to upgrade?
Well, usually when I think about the rat race, ultimately it boils down to one thing. It's externally driven. So in other words, it's the influence. If you think about the billionaires out there, right? I mean, let's be realistic. The type of money that, Bill Gates has and, Elon Musk and all these people, is like, you're never going to spend that much money. But guess what? There's this rat race of, I got to get more. So either I need to catch up to this person or so the person behind me doesn't catch up to me, And a lot of times, it's like a never ending cycle where you're constantly just saying, okay, is it the status? Is it money? Is it fear? Whatever it is, right? And I think at the end of the day, if you're not careful, the human element, sets in, and you really don't really catch yourself doing that.
I think I agree But
well, can you define what rat race means to you? Because Kate just did that. Let me hear your definition.
I think it's the rat race is when what was the saying last week? Just make sure you're running faster than
your problems. That's
the rat race. Literally, you're running. In my opinion, it's that you get trapped in a cycle of always working to live and living to work and sustaining your lifestyle but never enjoying it. So you're now living, you're not working hard just to pay your bills, to have the things that you don't really want, but you're already in a cycle and you don't know how to break free of it. Like now you're an employee of the world. Like the world is employing you because they've enticed you with things you think you want. Like I went to a couple of years ago, I went to Turks and Caicos, right? It wasn't,
This was recently?
No, a long time ago.
I was like, money.
I was in residency, bro. I was broke. I was broke. I was a broke boy.
He been making money since,
He got the flex. He got to let people know he's a doctor.
Nah, man. No. I'm saying like, anyway, we went there and there was people there who didn't have much, but they were happy. And I'm like, man, they living a good life. Like, because they have not been in a society where we always got to be, I got to stun, I got to flex, or this, I must buy this house. Sometimes people buy homes not for like any of the financial benefits, but because, the next thing to do in life is to buy a house. The next thing to do every couple of years is to buy a car, not because I need a car, or the next thing to do, they're just doing what they're supposed to do because everyone's doing it.
Because there's no clarity.
Exactly. Now
that's
you're
how
working.
the economy moves around, man. If everybody stops flexing,
Exactly. But now you're working hard so that you sustain this level and this image that you may not want when you could have been fine had you, lived in a smaller condo or a smaller house and drove a less nice vehicle and then go enjoy life and do what you want. Say you want to travel or whatever. So I think there's this whole thing of even one time I was trying to plan a trip. This was also years ago with my friends. It was we were all turning 30 at the point. So, this is a long time ago. But they made it such a big deal to plan a trip. Oh, we got to spend this much money. It's so hard to do anything. By the time we planned the trip, they decided, but we have to do something because it's expected of us. So we could flex on the gram and so we could flex on Facebook and we got to post this. And then the trip ended up being so overblown and we didn't go anywhere but New Orleans because it was planned literally the day before. And my whole point is that you get trapped in doing things. And so unluckily me, I ended up going there again. The rat race. I got trapped in doing something that I didn't really want to. I wanted to go to like Costa Rica or something at that point. But that's just my definition of that.
What about you? How do you define the rat race?
I define the rat race as similar to what both of you have said, right? It's going to be where you want something, not because you want it personally, but you feel like there's a little bit of pressure. I'll make it a little personal, right? In my definition, right? Yeah, I'm fine with most things that I have, but obviously if you're moving in some different circles, right? Like, this past weekend, we were going out somewhere. All the cars I was seeing around me, Rolls Royce Coupe, G-Wagon.
What's wrong with me?
G-Wagon. What do you call it? Lamborghini Urus. Everybody, I was like, loud. Maybe I need to get my car last and let them go or something like that. But
that's called keeping up with the Joneses, though.
That's exactly
it is. But it makes you feel like you need it, but not because
you really wanted it.
Yeah, but also it's like, is it a bad thing? Because sometimes, depending on the circle you're in, let's say you're trying to close a client that loves fast cars, right? They like to go to the track every other weekend and drive. And he says, hey, let's go. But you got to pay for yourself, right? He says, hey, let's go. Or she says, hey, let's go. You look at it and it's like, $2,000 to drive an hour around this track, just because you're driving in a Porsche 911 or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
That is the rat race because you're going to spend this money. But now some of us call it an investment. All right. You see where I'm going?
I saw where you were going before.
It is an investment.
It's an investment. That's what I said with the car example. You have to ask yourself, is it the right decision financially for you? And what are you getting out of it?
Okay. So, but here's the thing.
Like, what are you getting out of it? Are you having less problems with your cars because you not have a new car?
Right.
But can you afford the payments?
Right.
Is the payment simple to you, or is it like breaking you? You see what I'm saying? There's a difference.
That is a good point. But to the point that you made about being in a space where you're seeing all these nice cars, right? And you start thinking like, man, I need to step up my game. Is that considered the rat race? Or could that be looked at as motivation?
That's what I'm saying. Also, because sometimes.
So then, which is it?
Well, the saying goes, if you can't see it, if you can't envision it, you can't achieve it.
I mean,
right?
Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you want until I show it to you.
So,
but then doesn't that come across as reactive? Because if you think about it, so when I think of motivation, right, I look at it as being more intentional, right? Proactive, like there's a clear goal. This is what I'm trying to do. Whereas the rat race, I'm looking at it as reactive.
Right.
I never planned to do this, but now that I see somebody else is doing it, I want to do it. And now you go on this rat race of there's a never-ending cycle where you're never safied.
I guess.
Or let me let you talk.
Well, no, I was gonna say. I guess the difference is at some point you got to stop. Right.
Well, I guess
that's when it's more motivation than rat race. But if you keep going forever and ever, it's rat race. Is that what you're saying?
It's a rat race if you feel like you can't stop. That's what I feel like. Like you feel like a lot of people are in a rat race because they decide they're going to do this job for whatever. They had these goals and 10-year plan, 20-year plan, whatever. 10 years down the road, they're still doing stuff they plan to do only for 5 years. And they don't know how to stop because they're stuck in the cycle. Like, well, I can't stop because it's hard to get a job and I got all these bills against me and I got to keep up with the lifestyle that I built. And this is not necessarily my motivation to where I want to go to, but I'm stuck here and I'm trying to get unstuck to do something that I choose to do. Whether if it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter if you say this is motivation, If you get trapped into start going to the track all the time and your motivation was like, this was just supposed to be for this.
Close this client.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe a couple clients and now you start going there and you get stuck there and never move past that. Then you're stuck in a rat race.
Well,
so it's the motivation, like he said.
So here's how I look at it. This is my camera, right?
Yeah.
When I think of the rat race, right? Externally driven.
Yeah.
When I think of motivation, internally driven, right? Because at that point, you've already planned what you want to do, right? And at that point, you're saying, okay, you know what? This is my vision. This is the impact that I want to make, and let me execute, right? Sure. When I think of the rat race, I think of you're being reactive. You don't plan something. You see it, so you want to go after it. Whereas motivation, it's proactive. You've already planned like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. You have a mission, so you're going at it. With the reactive, when you're running the rat race, think of it like, okay, it can be exhausting because it's never ending.
Yeah.
But when there's motivation, it's inspiring because you're like, man, I want to be here by this time. And as you continue to climb, like you're motivated, you're inspired to, achieve that, right? So I think at the end of the day, whether you call it the rat race, whether you call it motivational, it depends on the thought process behind it.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that because I'm torn between both, really.
Well, why are you torn between both?
I see both sides because it's a very thin line.
It sounds like you're running the rat race.
It might be.
I feel like
it might be.
If I may, Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I like the finer things in life,
but that's your choosing, though. That's different.
But the problem is sometimes it comes at a cost.
Well, okay, but
Right.
you have clarity in what you're trying to build.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you?
But
let me ask one question.
But how come the goalpost always seems to shift?
But
Because even that motivation, let's say, hey, I want to build my business. I want to hit a revenue of $1 million. Let me use that example. I know it's off the rat race path a
Right.
little bit, but I'm showing about moving goalposts. Your first goal in business, a lot of people's goals, hey, I want to make $1 million, or generate $1 million in revenue. Then the next one is going to be 2, and the next one is going to be 3, and the next one is going to be 4. Yeah, and so on and so forth, right? Is that... in that sense, is that the rat race or is that motivation?
No, I think that's
rat
race.
race.
I think it depends. I think it
doesn't depend.
Because you're looking at the neighbor, how they produce it.
Let me hear why you say it
me,
depends.
I think it depends because he's choosing that. It's his. To me, rat race is when you can't get out. If he's at a point where he's able to move his goalposts, not because expenses are increasing, but because he's driven towards that. To me, that's not a rat race. I feel like when people say the rat race, they're saying, I'm doing this and I cannot stop. Like, say my goal was $1 million, but then something happens and I get stuck hovering around this and I'm just stuck having to do this because I have to pay bills. I can't extend higher and willingly increase my goal. I think it's a fine line what Tosin's saying in the sense that, yes, he's seeing this and this was the goal, but he's like, I'm more motivated. It's like when you're working out, if I may. You have a first max. You hit your first max, you're like, oh, that was easy. Let's go for more. It's not a rat race, but if you're like having an issue where you get injured and you have no choice but to stay at that weight,
Right.
That's what I think, because you're like pigeonholed.
So let me give you this perspective, because I disagree with both of you, because I think what you guys are referring to is a rat race. So for me, I have this conversation with people all the time about contentment, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when I say contentment, I'm not talking about in the form of stagnation
or settling.
Right.
Right.
I'm talking about contentment in the fact that, like, you've based, or you've defined success, and your success is not tied to material things or money, right? You can define success as freedom.
Correct.
Meaning that you've made enough money that you control your time, you control where you are, you control who you speak to, you control what time you go to sleep, what time you wake up, right?
Correct.
So if you tell yourself that, hey, look, for me, I want to achieve success, and success is freedom. That means that once you've made a certain amount of money, you can you can sit back and say, I'm free. And at that point, you don't need to continue to move the goalposts because you're already there. You're already free. Now, if you say, oh, I want to make 1 million, right? But you can't really identify the significance of that 1 million. You're going to move the goalposts next. And until you're able to have a clarity on your vision and the mission where you're trying to go, you will always continue to run the rat race.
But can't they both coexist?
No, they cannot. You know why?
No, listen.
Because here's the reason why they can't coexist. The reason why they can't coexist.
But you can have that and still want this, because you can define that and still have dollar goals, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So he's not saying that this is mutually exclusive of what you're saying, is what I'm trying to say.
They can coexist based on what I've talked about.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing. The reason why it can't stay that long is because as long as money is attached to it, you will continue to run the rat race. It never stops. What I'm trying to say.
What if he's saying that, like, this amount will buy me time freedom, I'm blanking. All the freedoms, right?
Okay.
All the freedoms.
Okay, so
however, I've achieved that. Now for my own, I want to achieve this, because with this money, I can do this for people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, like, first first level is to be able to, you have freedom, right? Now I'm trying to achieve freedoms for people around myself, right? I want you to hit what you want to do in life and whatever. This will give me enough money to invest in your business, this business. I now want to be an investor.
At that point.
So what is that now like?
No.
That's what I'm saying. They can't coexist. You can have monetary goals and value goals
at that point,
attached to it.
It's not a rat race anymore. Now you are living in your purpose.
Right.
Because you're free. Does that make sense? You can't take care of the next person if you're not good.
Correct.
I get it.
You get what I'm saying?
Not well.
You know, but
yes. There's a reason why when you're on the plane, they tell you, like, if anything happens,
with your mask on first,
take care of you first before you take care of the next person.
No, I get it, but I mean, there might be somebody out there that feels like they're running the rat race.
Okay.
However, it's on that borderline, like, hey, this is my purpose. This is what I'm motivated to do. You know, this is my calling. This is what I'm trying to achieve. It's not about what everybody else thinks about me or whatever, but I'm just pushing so hard. But as I grow, you know, the needs also grow.
Yes.
And then I need to grow a little bit more, and then the needs increase a little bit more.
Exactly.
Or let's even use a business.
But
right?
sometimes that is a rat race.
Yeah. I'm saying there's a fine line, but we need to be able to define it properly and then figure out how to manage it or get out of it.
So, when is enough enough?
Well, let me land with this example, right? A business, maybe you're a solopreneur. You know, you said, hey, you know what? My goal was to make, you know, let me have in my retirement fund or whatever, I want $1 million and I'm good. All of a sudden you hire your first employee and you're like, man, that person needs to make some money. If not, they're going to leave me.
Exactly.
Now you need to pay them well. And now, hey, well, that $1 million was my goal, but it will take me forever to get to that $1 million. So I need to increase my business hustle so I can get to my $1 million. But now I've increased something else and started pushing. Now I've maxed out that one employee. I need another employee. And now I need to even hustle more because I got to take 2 people. And so on and so forth. And it feels like every day is just a grind and a grind and a grind.
That is the rat
therefore,
race.
Therefore, let me land with this last piece. Therefore,
it's a really long flight.
It's a really long descent. All right.
Nah, I'm joking.
Now you want to take care of yourself now. You know, you've been hustling so hard. Why is that person driving a Maserati? I want a Maserati.
Tosin, tell us more about what's going on.
You're working too hard to be in this 2017. No, I'm kidding.
The question is, you know, how do you get out? How do you get out of the rat race? Right. Because for people that are watching, you might be running the rat race and you want to know.
It may feel like you're running the rat race.
It feels like it, right? For me, I feel like the best way to, you know, graduate and get over to that stage of, I guess the opposite of rat race is motivation, right? Is that what we're calling it? What's the opposite of rat race?
We'll give you do nothing.
Do nothing. Okay.
That's my definite opposite.
All right.
Right.
So in order for you to graduate from that point to doing nothing, well, let's just call it freedom.
Okay.
Right? To freedom, I think there has to be some intentionality around how you approach things, right? Remember, I said earlier, when you're running a rat race, everything is reactive. Does that make sense? Everything is externally driven, right? I think there's a reason why, you know, CEOs all over says when you start a company and you're bringing people on board, make sure that everybody buy into the mission and vision.
Right.
Our last meeting that we had with the entrepreneurs out there, what was the one thing that you said about mission and vision? You said that the reason why your business is successful today, or you didn't come.
No, you didn't
get invited.
No, he got invited.
I got invited with spam, and I said next week.
Let me not lose my train of thought. You said that the reason why your business is so successful today is because everybody bought into the mission and the vision.
Right. Yeah.
Which meant that no matter what happens, because you've already set the tone, this is where we're going, right? Once we get there, it's okay to say, let's set another goal. But at least we're being intentional about what we're doing. The minute you're not being intentional and you're all over the place, then you're running the rat race. But if you're structured, like somebody is not going to come into your business today and say, oh, Tosin, you need to change this, you need to change this, you need to change that. You're going to be like, no, we have a system. And guess what? The minute we feel like the system isn't working, or the minute we feel like the system is outdated, we will upgrade our system. Does that make sense?
Unless
that
you're
is
Blockbuster.
exactly right.
You're too late.
Unless you're Blockbuster.
But for anybody
Sorry,
out there,
guys.
I really feel like the best way to, at least for you to feel like you're not running the rat race, is to be in charge of what you're trying to accomplish. And for you to be in charge of what you're trying to accomplish, you have to be intentional about setting goals, understanding your mission, and being proactive in achieving those things.
You said it all.
Yeah.
You said it all.
That's it.
Hey, I think he had a good point. He touched on everything. But yeah, I think the intention is the main thing. As long as you stay with your goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's also, I guess, as we're rounding up here, I think it's also based on the needs that you have around you.
Yes.
Right. Let's even go back to that car. Let's say your car is old, it's broken down, you've driven the wheels off of it, and you need a new car.
Yes.
Right.
At that point, you get to make a choice.
Yes.
Whether you go for wants
Or needs.
or needs.
Or somewhere in between.
Or somewhere. That was where I wanted to land.
Yeah, my bad. I stole your
I was in that stage.
Yeah.
Because my car was giving me a problem last week. And I said, do I really want a new car? Or can I just, because I can
Get a
easily
new
afford
Honda.
a used car, right? And you know what I said? Well, my philosophy is I don't like bad debt.
Yeah.
So if I can pay cash for it, I shouldn't be getting it. And that, you see, I have a plan.
That's
like
it. That's where I'm
structured.
going.
Don't let people shake your plan.
Bruh.
That's for Tosin.
Bruh. So you gotta work on that.
I'm just being real. It touches me some
getting that
kind of
sense.
way.
You feel intimidated
You know?
when Tosin come up here with $10,000 suits?
Amen, brother. Amen.
Exactly, because
I come straight from work. Came straight from work. Like,
Well, let's round it up.
No, definitely for all of those entrepreneurs,
Custom suit.
oh Lord, for all those entrepreneurs, everyone out there that you may be feeling like you're running the rat race, you know what? You're not alone. All right. It happens to every single one of us. All right. But I like the ideas that were thrown up here, and you just have to be intentional about your purpose. You have to be intentional about your decisions so that you don't just follow the wind every single time something comes up, whether about your car, whether about your clothes, all right, or whether about your business. Make sure you stay focused. All right. Till next time, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button, and comment. We want to hear your opinion
Yes.
also.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one.
Peace.
boom.